You know that feeling, right? We've probably all been there. Tough day, maybe a stressful week, and you want a little boost.
Hmm.
So you hit the shops or, well, more often now, you just open your phone.
Yeah.
A few clicks, that familiar rush, that hit of retail therapy, it washes over you.
It feels good, satisfying, quick.
Exactly. And look, for most people, it's totally harmless. But what happens when that little high starts to consume you?
Yep.
What if that feeling spirals into something, well, much darker, much more profound?
That's exactly where we get into this often misunderstood world of shopping addiction. It's got clinical names like oniomania or compulsive buying disorder.
Oniomania, okay.
And it's really far more than just liking a shopping spree. It's this uncontrollable urge that can just profoundly impact lives financially, emotionally,
Yeah.
socially, everything.
Absolutely. And in this deep dive, that's our mission, really, to unpack what happens when shopping truly spirals out of control. We're going to look at some incredibly compelling personal stories, explore how our modern digital life kind of fuels this issue,
Right.
and understand how experts are actually viewing this whole complex condition. We really want to give you a clearer picture of a struggle that's, well, probably far more common or impactful than many of us think.
And to really grasp that unseen burden, that weight of compulsive buying, we have some incredibly powerful firsthand accounts.
Yeah.
Lucy's story, for instance, she described it as a kind of physical and emotional drowning.
That sounds intense. Drowning.
Yeah. Lucy, she's 37, told the BBC she could spend up to like 14 hours a day just searching online for new clothes.
14 hours a day?
A day. She wasn't paying bills, just buying. And her description, feeling under a weight of clothes constantly, it just paints such a vivid picture.
I can almost imagine it. What scale are we talking about?
Think about this. An entire room in her house in West Yorkshire, several suitcases, and a 35-square-foot storage unit, all just crammed with clothes she barely, if ever, wore.
Wow. Just stuff everywhere.
And her motivation, what she said drove her, is really striking. She said the clothes acted as armor to not feel the feelings that I did in real life.
So it wasn't really about the clothes themselves.
Not primarily, no. It sounds like it was this desperate attempt at emotional shielding. And the spending just escalated, 700 pounds per week.
700 a week.
Yep. Racking up eventually 12,000 pounds in debt.
That's a profound insight into the emotional driver behind it. And what about realizing it was a problem? How did that happen?
Well, that's revealing too. She called it her penny drop moment.
Yeah.
It only really hit her that this was an addiction or, a disorder when a therapist she was seeing through NHS cognitive behavioral therapy specifically mentioned the word oniomania.
So just hearing the term gave it a name, a reality.
Exactly. And her call to action now is just as clear. She feels that the resources are really lacking, that the research and understanding of oniomania just isn't there in the same way it is for, say, substance addictions.
That lack of recognition.
It's a recurring theme. Others echoed it, like Natalie. She vividly describes her own compulsion through what she actually calls her cupboard of doom.
Cupboard of doom. Okay.
For Natalie, her compulsion is quite specific. It seems linked to her obsessive-compulsive disorder, or OCD, triggering this need to buy particular numbers and colors of items.
Okay, so OCD playing a direct role there. What kind of volume are we talking about with her?
It's truly staggering. Her cupboard alone, over 10,000 household items,
10,000?
including things like 300 tubes of toothpaste and 3,000 washing pods.
Good grief, that's hard to even picture.
At her peak, she was spending 3,000 pounds a month. 1,000 pounds of that was just on toiletries.
1,000 on toiletries alone.
Yeah. And she put it incredibly starkly. She said, if I see something online, I need it. I don't care how I get it, I need to get it.
That immediacy, that overwhelming need.
Absolutely. There's an extreme example.
Yeah.
She once spent 1,000 pounds on a flight just to get more perfumes. She's collected about 400 fragrances in just 2 years.
Wow. A flight for perfume. That really shows the power of the urge.
It really does. And interestingly, she mentioned that therapy hasn't really been successful for her yet. She admits she's not quite ready to stop completely, though she is trying to cut down.
So readiness is a factor, too.
Definitely. And her perspective is firm. She believes all addictions should be treated the same, with the same urgency and support. She's calling for more comprehensive help from the NHS.
Hearing these stories, it really makes you wonder how many people might be navigating similar hidden struggles.
It does. The BBC piece mentioned they spoke with 15 people who identified with shopping addiction. And a theme that came up again and again was just the immense mental toll.
The guilt, the shame.
Exactly. Some even developed eating disorders. Others described it like a monster controlling their lives.
That's heavy, and it seems like this pattern can start quite young.
It certainly can. They mentioned Susanna. She's just 18, spending her entire wage within a week, mostly on beauty products.
An entire wage gone in days.
And then there's Alice's experience. She talked about how shopping first became a coping mechanism for self-confidence and esteem issues.
So, filling an emotional need again.
Right. And she described what she called the gateway effect. She started using buy now, pay later schemes when she was 18.
Ah, those schemes. They're everywhere now.
They are. And for her, they became a gateway to other kinds of credit. It led to 9,000 pounds of debt from spending about 800 pounds a month online.
800 a month online, leading to that much debt. And did she talk about the feeling, the reward?
She did, and it's quite telling. She described it perfectly. The more I had to open, the more excitement there was. But then,
Your crash.
yeah. But once I opened the parcels, the buzz would wear off and I'd be sad again, so then the cycle continues.
It's that vicious loop. Did she manage to break out of it?
Thankfully, yes.
Oh.
Alice did overcome her addiction. She had therapy and is now almost debt-free.
That's really good to hear.
It is. And her insight is powerful. She said, it does genuinely change your way of thinking. Your whole life revolves around payday.
Your whole life revolving around the next chance to spend.
Which brings us right to a really crucial point.
Yeah.
How our modern digital life doesn't just enable this, it actively fuels the urge.
Right, the environment we're all swimming in. Social media seems like a big one here.
Huge. It came up in almost all these stories.
How so?
Well, Lucy mentioned seeing influencers with just copious amounts of clothes. She felt it sort of normalized her own excessive habits, made it seem okay.
Ah, yeah, the endless haul videos.
Exactly. And Alice, she views social media as basically another version of QVC, but one younger generations can watch. It's constant selling.
QVC for the Instagram age. That's quite an image.
And Natalie, the one with the perfumes, she spends 6 hours a day watching perfume videos online. She flat out said ads have a massive effect.
6 hours a day just on perfume videos, and it is a consistent finding, you said.
Across all 15 people the BBC interviewed, yes. Every single one felt social media contributed to their struggles.
That's unanimous. And it makes sense when you look at the broader picture, doesn't it? The rise of online shopping.
The statistics really back this up powerfully. The proportion of retail sales made online, it's more than doubled in the last decade.
Doubled.
Yeah, from about 12% in May 2015 to 27% projected for May 2025. And this isn't just people choosing to shop online more.
It's being pushed, you mean?
Well, look at the advertising spend. The Interactive Advertising Bureau UK, the IAB UK, their data shows advertisers spending on social media grew an incredible 20% last year alone.
20% growth in 1 year. How much money are we talking?
Reaching a staggering $8.87 billion.
Wow. Nearly £9 billion spent just on social media ads in the UK.
It's an enormous amount of capital poured directly into influencing our buying habits, yours and mine included.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? If that much effort and money is going into making us want to buy constantly, how much harder must it be for someone who's already predisposed to compulsive behavior to resist that?
It's a huge pressure. And Zaheen Ahmed, he's the director of therapy at the UK Addiction Treatment Group, UCAT Group. He has some fascinating insights on the brain and behavior in this context.
Oh, yeah. What does he say?
He draws this really direct, quite powerful parallel. He equates the hormonal anticipation of a purchase, that feeling before you click buy.
Yeah, that buzz.
He equates that to a drug user securing a hit. That same kind of neurochemical reward anticipation.
That's a strong comparison.
It is. And he emphasizes that social media use is just the new normal, right? But it's actively contributing to our urge to buy, urge to spend, urge to interact every time.
Constantly priming us.
Constantly. And Professor Ian Hamilton from the University of York, he adds that this rise of influencers, it's no accident.
Meaning it's strategic.
Absolutely. He notes that a glossy, well-put-together video package, which extols the virtue of an item and only shows the positives, think unboxing videos, reviews it, has a far greater psychological impact than just reading a description. It shows you the desirability.
It bypasses the critical thinking bit, maybe. Go straight for the emotion.
That seems to be the implication. It's clear the digital environment is profoundly reshaping how we shop and how these compulsions can really take root and grow.
Okay, so we've seen the personal impact, the digital fuel. Given all that, how are experts actually defining this condition? What's the clinical perspective?
Well, broadly, oniomania is defined as that uncontrollable need to shop and spend, even when you know there are negative consequences, debt, relationship problems, clutter, guilt.
Right, despite the downsides. Is it common?
The exact number isn't really known for sure, but a big review suggested it impacts around 5% of adults. Some more recent studies, though, hint it might have risen maybe even up to 10%, especially since the pandemic.
10%, that's potentially millions of people.
Potentially, yes. But despite this seemingly growing prevalence, the NHS doesn't actually have a distinct separate diagnosis for shopping addiction.
Really? Why is that, if it affects potentially 10% of people?
It's complicated. It seems rooted in debates among experts about how to classify it. Is it its own thing, a standalone behavioral addiction like gambling? Or is it more linked to mood disorders like depression or OCD, like we saw with Natalie?
Ah, so it's a classification issue holding things up.
That seems to be a major factor. Professor Ian Hamilton, again, he's worked in addiction for 3 decades. He put it quite bluntly. Shopping addiction has caught psychiatry on the back foot,
Not kept pace with the problem.
essentially. He suggested a formal diagnosis might still be 2 or 3 years away. So the problem is clearly recognized by many, but the official clinical framework, it's still evolving. It's lagging behind the reality people are experiencing.
That seems problematic if people need specific help. And you mentioned Professor Hamilton also observed something about retail tactics.
Yes, and this links back to the digital environment again. He observed that the retail sector has basically lifted some of the strategies used by the gambling industry to keep people engaged online.
Wait, lifted strategies from the gambling industry.
That's what he suggests. Tactics designed to keep you clicking, keep you spending, keep you coming back.
So the retail sector is essentially applying lessons learned from a highly addictive industry. What does that imply about?
Well, their ethical responsibility? That's a huge question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It implies a very deliberate, quite sophisticated design to keep people hooked in a cycle. He specifically described it as a loop.
A loop.
Yeah. Spending, buying, feeling good. That initial buzz Alice talked about, then having remorse. The guilt, the shame, it's a psychological trap designed, perhaps unintentionally or intentionally, to perpetuate itself.
Spending, buzz, remorse, repeat. And the emotional toll of being stuck in that loop must be immense.
It clearly is. As we heard, the sufferers, they universally report these intense feelings of guilt, shame, a severe mental toll. Some developed other conditions alongside it.
And their collective call seems to be for
More understanding, more support, both from the medical community and just society in general, to take it seriously.
Right. It needs to be seen as a legitimate struggle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pamela Roberts, she's a psychotherapist at the Prairie Group. She articulated it very clearly. She said, we need to learn different coping strategies, but we can only learn them when it's recognized as a problem, and that's only done when it's made official.
So that formal recognition is crucial for effective treatment to become widespread.
That's her view. The NHS, for their part, they respond by saying that NHS Talking Therapies does provide treatment for a range of conditions, including OCD, and offers practical skills. They encourage people to contact their GP or even self-refer for therapy.
Okay, so there are avenues, but maybe not tailored specifically enough yet, or not widely recognized as being for this issue.
That seems to be the tension, yes.
So wrapping this up, what we've really unpacked in this deep dive is, well, it's a condition that's profoundly impactful, often incredibly hidden, and driven by this really complex mix of personal coping mechanisms, all that pervasive digital influence, and maybe even wider societal structure.
It has a devastating impact on individuals, as we heard, yet it's still facing these significant challenges in getting formal recognition and maybe consistent support.
Given everything we've discussed, that powerful loop, the doubly personal stories, the digital pressures, it really raises a significant question for all of us, doesn't it?
Which is,
How do you, listening now, how do you define that line between, say, harmless retail therapy and a genuine consuming struggle? Where does it tip over?
that's a really important point for reflection.
And maybe as you navigate your own digital life today, tomorrow, just consider how pervasive all that digital marketing and social media influence really is. Are those lines between entertainment, influence, and maybe even compulsion, are they becoming increasingly blurred for all of us, whether we quite realize it or not?